YouTube, welcome to yet another episode of Seven Color Sundays with your host Tato. Man, I always enjoy these sessions of just conversating with the brothers, with the listeners, with myself. It's a point where one gets a bit of clarity on certain things that you're wrestling with in your mind. At times I plan these discussions and I know exactly what I'm going to talk about. And in some situations like today, I just freestyle entire conversation because it's always authentic when you literally just speak what's in your mind. It's very important to do that. It's liberating. Everyone's dealing with some level of anxiety. I think there are different levels to it. They're just different levels to it. So you kind of have to figure out the spectrum in which you are operating. I was speaking to a young South African entrepreneur, a young man, extremely motivated, who wanted some sales training, a bit of advice on certain clients that he's dealing. I was just throwing some nuggets his way and also just learning from him in terms of his product and how he's going about it. So it was more of an exchange of ideas and knowledge, but he's really headed the right way. I will be having an interview with him, doing very well for himself. We ended up having a discussion around, the anxiety that comes with risking it all. And man, you can be extremely motivated, focused individual, still be dealing with a lot of internal issues that leave you anxious. It's all about finding a way to cope with that anxiety, that not knowing. Some people operate from a place of faith, some want to operate from a place of knowing everything and cannot know and plan ahead. You can't plan everything to detail because life still takes place, life still happens. So as we got into our discussion, I actually asked him, so what does your daily routine look like? What is it that you're doing you should not be doing, because sometimes that comes into play. Crazy thing is, he mentioned certain friends or people he hangs around, and he notices that when he's around those individuals, he behaves in a certain way. He does certain things that's not really part of his personality. And remember, some of these things are clinical, right? So you have to go and seek professional help and get medication if needed. Just do the necessary based on your genetics, your situation. But I just pointed out to him that you need to kind of also analyze your life and break it down and realize, like, this is what I do on a daily, because what you do on a daily becomes a habit. Some of these habits increase propensity of you dealing with things like anxiety. I'm not one of those who's going to say anxiety does not exist or mental health is not even put a podcast for this one, dealing with mental health. So with regards to this specific topic of anxiety, I think it's key to look into what is it that you are doing? What is it that you are feeding yourself? From food to habits. We'll always go back to that. We'll always keep going back to your daily habits. We all have vices. I have vices myself. But whatever vice you decide to go with, ensure that it doesn't mess with your stability as a person. You might not even have a vice and just be dealing with your mind. The deep meditators call it monkey brain, where your mind is all over the place. You may need to learn certain techniques to focus. You may need to learn certain breathing techniques. Those kind of self-help activities go a long way. So with some, it's I need to stop drinking. Leads me to a different world. I need to stop smoking weed. Leads me to a different world. I need to stop engaging certain individuals because every time I hang around these people, we end up talking about other people, and that affects me negatively. You need to identify what it is that you are doing wrong. It boils down to your habits. Habits. I, on a personal level, used to have a habit of worrying. I'm a very calm person by nature, I'm told. But internally, I'd be having a war of worry, and that would also affect me negatively. You start creating scenarios that are not even there. So I had to kind of confront this and deal with it and seek the necessary help. Now, I've discovered coping mechanisms, how to kind of handle it. So as soon as my mind goes into that realm, You have to find and learn techniques to bring it back. Because as soon as you start going into that realm, that's where the creativity takes place of scenarios that don't exist, that never even taken place. So you kind of start discovering a routine for yourself on how to handle that. And gradually you find your balance, you find your peace, you find your space, the space that you should be operating in, the space that in the right direction leads you to positivity, leads you to progress. I shared this story with a young man and I told him to look into that. You can just break down your life and analyze who is in my life, that shouldn't be in my life, what am I doing to contribute. You know, you can't battle the mind to just have control of yourself, your daily activities. You'd be surprised and amazed at how there are certain things we do on a daily that lead us to this feeling of anxiety or anxiousness or, you know, not being our full selves. So he did say he'll get back to me and we'll have a discussion around that, see how it goes. But I do hope that he identifies all of this for himself. It's one thing to go around telling people what they need and require. It's another when they kind of discover that for themselves. The world currently is in a very anxious place, like a lot of anxiety doing the rounds. Look at South Africa, a lot of young people aren't working, people that should be within the economy, contributing to the economy, people that should be working and not. I mean, the numbers are staggering. These are young people that have gone to school, parents have sacrificed a lot. So there's a lot of anxiety doing the rounds with many young people. And through my work, through my discussions with people, through all the activities I get involved in, I try and kind of just encourage people to kind of go within themselves. And if you identify something that you need to kind of work on or needs medical attention, it's very important to go seek that attention. You can only help yourself so much, right? Until you actually need to get scientific with it. By that, I just mean certain instances, the body needs a bit of help, assistance. That's what science is there for, to assist with all of that in terms of medication, things that can assist you. But all in all, have a look at what you're putting into your body. Have a look at what you consume orally, mentally, and otherwise. Sometimes just being in a job that you dislike can leave you in a terrible space, especially if you know that you need to be out there doing other things, contributing to the world. Your ideas need to be out there, etc. Your passion needs to be put out there to the world. Those kind of things can leave you in a really terrible space, and you need to kind of find mechanisms to cope and to forge ahead while you're doing the things you need to do. Because you still need to get an adult about these things, right? Man, I remember there's a song by Black Thought, rather by The Roots, and it's this piece where he says, "To the shorties that's underage, don't rush the stage." Every time I listen to that, I just think of how important it is to enjoy every phase of your life. Don't rush the stage. Every stage is important. It's very important for you to learn the lessons you're learning now. So just take ownership of everything. And I hope one or two points struck a chord. Thanks for tuning in. Let's do this again soon. Like and subscribe. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Take it easy. Speak soon.